one in. Hi, welcome to G3. So glad you're here today. This is episode 37, and it's March 19th, 2015. My name is Tina Chase Gilmore, and we've got a great show for you today. A little delay. I'm sorry if you are watching live. And you can find us, as usual, on our Facebook page at facebook.com/G3show. Okay, I'm going to introduce my lovely co-host today. Up in my upper left is the lovely Francine Hardaway. Hi, Francine.
Hello.
And Francine, you are joined by my gardener who just decided that it's time to trim the grass outside.
Oh,
We're going to compete for that. I hope that that noise doesn't bleed through too much. It's bleeding through to me. Up in my upper right, from Boston, from cold Boston, still cold Boston. I'm so sorry, Hallie Suit Tucker. Hi, Hallie.
Hi, and what is this thing you speak of, grass?
Yes. Hallie.
I haven't seen it for 9 months. No, 7.
Oh,
Sorry,
gosh.
7 months. We have a big storm probably tomorrow.
Oh,
night.
it just sounds dreadful, Hallie.
And it was
I'm
13
so sorry.
last night.
And I'm going to encourage you once again. Please think about moving because this is
All right,
awful.
all right. You know, I actually have a running joke
absurd,
with my
Hallie.
husband.
It's absurd. Nobody should live there.
I swear. And this literally, it
Nobody.
snowed October,
Nobody
November,
should live
December,
in
January, February, March. Highly likely we'll have 7 months of it.
Oh,
but we
my
had 6
goodness.
solid months of it.
Ay, ay,
But
ay.
my husband's shtick is that if I get a job out there, girls, help me out, he'll move. He's like, you get a job, we'll go.
Let's get on this, ladies.
And
Come
I'm like,
on.
what if I get a job like at, like I really
I'm
like
always
this
hearing
top.
that there's a war for talent in Silicon Valley.
Let the war
We
begin.
need smart women here. Okay. And in my lower right is Christy Wells. Hi, Christy.
Hi, guys.
You're
Good
coming-
to be here today.
You're coming from sunny San Francisco.
This is true.
All right.
But congrats to Boston because you guys took the record for the most amount of snowfall in 1 year. So if you're going to do it big.
Well, I'd rather not do it big, and I want to stop being at home because that's the only place you can go. It's like,
So, let me throw a little bit open to you guys. What's been going on this week? I know we just got off of South by Southwest. None of us went, but some of us are past participants or past enthusiasts of South by
who
Southwest.
had no worry about whether you went. It was all live on Meerkat.
Uh-huh,
So
okay.
You know
I
what?
went whether I went.
I haven't been in 2 years, and I haven't missed it. I went
Yeah.
for 7 years in a row. I went when it was smaller. It was. Oh, by the way, what you're seeing behind me, I'm actually doing this podcast from American Green, which is an agricultural technology that's somewhat of a euphemism company that I work with, and I'm doing it from their office.
Why don't you tell us what is it called American Green? Is that what you said?
Green. It's basically technologies that were developed for growing and distributing marijuana that are now coming into general use. Just as marijuana is being legalized and they can be used in the marijuana industry, they want to get further than that. And so they're moving into general agriculture. And what I've learned from this, which is absolutely mind-boggling, is that all the best high-yield growth techniques have been used by the marijuana industry for years. And the marijuana industry can grow almost anything horizontally, vertically, in earth, in water, and they can extract the terpenes from it so that they get the most juice. I mean, whatever regular agriculture can do, the marijuana industry does it about 6x better.
And
See, it's like porno on the web. Porno drove the innovation of the web. Thank God we've got marijuana now to drive the innovation of what? Regular?
Yeah, sustainable
what?
agriculture. There's a huge amount of sustainable agriculture going on. Anyway, it's a very interesting company, but
I have just been told that Steve is meerkatting the show. So in the background, yeah. So I don't know.
Okay,
Find
so
us,
this is
find
what
us that way
Meerkat-
somehow. But
Meerkat is the most
also,
recur-
Francine, I did want to say it's kind of interesting that that this company is headquartered in Arizona, when a kind of a conservative bastion of the country. I
We have
kind of don't
legalized
expect it there.
medical marijuana.
What's that?
We have legal medical marijuana. And
Interesting.
I think we're going to have, and here's why: we're a poor state. We don't have enough tax revenues because our legislature won't pass anything that'll raise taxes. So we basically have budget shortfalls. And the best way to get recreational marijuana legalized in any state is to have a budget shortfall, because then people see it as a way of taxing what they consider, illicit activities, and so they're happy to do it. So they legalize the industry. I mean, it's like a major irony, but
Yeah.
it does happen.
How long is it going to take before marijuana is legalized across the country? What can we venture a
There's a
guess?
bill going through Congress right now. Notice how I've become an instant expert on this. I didn't know anything for like 30 years since I smoked it. And now I know everything because I'm working with this company. And apparently there's a bill going through Congress right now to decriminalize federal marijuana. And this makes a big difference. If it gets decriminalized on the federal level, then a lot of states who've been using as an excuse, well, if we pass it, we'll still get in trouble with the federal government, they're removed that excuse from them. And so then when they get, citizens who want it, they don't have any way not to respond.
Well,
So we're all going to be, and it's
so
not going to be
the
smoking. We don't
decriminalization
smoke
of
it
it
anymore.
is the decriminalization of it is underway, and our jails will be thankful for that at some point, because we're just, we've got a jail system, we've got a lot of folks incarcerated for what?
We have so many people incarcerated in the United States that the ACLU has a national campaign called Smart Justice against mass incarceration. And so much of it is small drug offenses. It's pretty amazing. And my friend, who's the legal director of the ACLU in Arizona, tells me that there's the left and the right are both for this. The libertarians, who don't believe, that we should be doing stupid stuff like putting people in jail for their own personal decisions, and the right, who doesn't believe, and the left, who believes that marijuana, is not a problem, are together on this. Which
I
as
have
it should be.
I have a piece I just found. It is from last year, but it said, here's the likely roadmap for legal marijuana. So you guys can clap your hands when one is already gone as of last year. So they say Alaska, which is gone, right? Alaska's
Right.
legal. Arizona,
That's legal.
California,
That's medically legal.
Yeah.
Delaware,
I don't
Not
know
yet.
about Delaware.
Hawaii, not yet. Maine, not yet, right?
Right.
Wait, are we going through all 50 states?
No, this is the list they think this is the order it would go. Maryland, not yet. Massachusetts, I live in, not yet. Montana, I don't know.
Oregon
Nevada?
has done it. It goes into effect in Oregon in July.
Okay, Oregon in July, and Nevada, New York, and then Rhode Island, DC, Vermont. That was their list of the order they think.
DC, it's gone. DC
It's
is
gone,
legal.
right. So this was a year ago, and about half of them already done.
Have gone, plus some ones that we, haven't thought about. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's coming.
I think it'll be one of those things where, our kids say, what? This was, or maybe, I guess our kids, because, my
They
kids.
study it like prohibition, and they'll study it
Yeah.
like we studied
exactly.
the mafia. They'll study the cartels in
Right.
history class.
So, didn't we start off talking about South by Southwest?
Yeah, where'd we go?
What the heck? How did we get into? Oh, I get it. South by Southwest, marijuana. I see the connection. Okay.
Right, exactly.
It was
Christie's husband went.
Christy's husband went.
He
Okay.
did, and and like Francine, this was actually this is the first year I've sat out after 8 years, and so it was interesting to kind of be a, a voyeur versus a participant, an active participant. And it was kind of interesting. Like there was a moment in time where I saw several friends in a photo, getting all together, and I'm like, God, I wish I was there to hug them live. And then I realized, my body and my mind was actually happy that I didn't have that chaos for the last couple of days, because it is pretty
Yes.
draining both mentally and physically to run hard for 5 days during Southwest to catch up and do everything you want to do. But my husband did go, and he's in the process of launching a company, and so for him there was still great value to participate. I think
Tell
you're
the
just seeing
name
a
of his
change.
company and tell who your husband is.
Husband is Chris Hewer. He has a startup called Aligned, and he launched a new variation of that too, called Launching Next Week, which is actually going to support a lot of startups that don't have big budgets to get big stories placed in, say, TechCrunch and Mashable and some of these others, where it's you've got something you're working on, let's put it out there. And the new thing is launching next week, not launching at South by. So he's got some information coming out this week, because South by is coming out, or ending right now too. But I think the thing that's interesting about South by is, especially because I've been over there 8 years, and France, and I know we referenced it was small. It was actually smaller.
Right.
I was never there when it was small.
I was there when Scott Field had those parties that had 20 people at them.
Yeah.
And so the Ginger Man parties, it's the night before the storm, is what he calls them, right? And they're usually the
Right.
Thursday night before South Beth.
Yeah.
The interactive starts usually on a Friday, so we all go in on a Thursday night. And the parties, instead of 20 people now, they're 150. So they've definitely grown. And so yes, that type of party was small at one time, but South by for me has always been big, and it's always been chaos, but it's always been about making connections and seeing people that I know around the world, as well as meeting a lot of new people that I've actually built amazing friendships with over the last 8 years.
Yeah.
And so I think the interesting thing is, and there's a lot of commentary coming out of it, a lot of people that were there early on, and I'm going to say early on, like 2006, 2007, 2008, when somebody like a Twitter launched at South by Southwest and had great success. Even Foursquare launched at South by Southwest and had great success there as well. But I think the people that were there in 2007, 2008 that are in quote unquote digital marketing are probably not as active as they used to be and attending. But you're seeing a shift. There's new people coming in. There's more brand people coming in. There's more techies, and there's things like health. Health is a huge track this year. And wearable world, that type of wearable tech, I think is fantastic. And so it's different, right? It's not that it's bad or it's dying. I just think it's different.
I think that I think you're right about health, and you're right about wearables. And if you could say that I had any FOMO, that was it. But otherwise, I really didn't, because after you've been to a conference for 7 years or 8 years, you're done. You want to go to a different conference and meet some different people.
If you go and all the people you like to see are there, you keep going. But I feel like each year, as they get bigger, you kind of are drowned in people that you don't know and have trouble connecting with the people you do know and like who might be there, and you just get to see them. By the way, my big win this week with South by was that I learned what hashtag FOMO means. And thank you, Christy. She told me, because I realized I don't have any FOMO attitude. And I'm like, what does that mean? I'm like,
I
and then
spend
it's like,
half my life with FOMO because I live in Arizona.
well, I'm in Boston. We're so out of it. We don't even know enough to have FOMO. I mean, I thought
You're better
So,
off.
Hallie, would you like to say what it means, since you said you
I already
figured it
forgot,
out?
but it means you're jealous everybody else is having fun.
Fear
It's fear.
of missing out.
Fear of
Exactly.
missing out.
But thank
It
you
is the
for
fear of missing
explaining.
out. And actually, it's interesting. There's a lot of sociological studies coming out right now about people that watch their friends and family members, and even just people they admire online doing all these things, whether it's going to a winery or a concert or a conference. And they actually start experiencing FOMO, and it's a serious thing, right? People can get depressed about it.
I like
For
it.
me,
Sounds
was-
like you're foaming at the mouth. Ugh, FOMO. I mean, it sounded sort of like sci-fi or something. I was like, wow, what is?
But
I want some.
Christy's
So
right.
does that mean
it does
that-
make people depressed.
Does
What's
it
that,
mean
Makes
that
Nancy?
people think their own lives, there are some studies that say that sometimes social media in general makes it look like everyone else's life is fabulous and yours is shit.
Well,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
the
I think
artistry
we've talked
of
about
it.
that a couple of times on previous shows, right? I
Yeah.
think that there is definitely a theme going through that just because I can, I see it easier now that social media exists, right? Instead of me trying to call you or text you and realizing that you're out of town for 5 days, at Austin eating barbecue and meeting friends and learning about cool tech. I had FOMO that way, but now it's like so much more visual that it's real time that whether it's a meerkat video coming through or somebody's photo on
Speaking of
Instagram
meerkat,
or
Meerkat,
Meerkat.
Meerkat was designed to promote FOMO. Meerkat was totally designed to produce FOMO in the ordinary person.
But I
That's
think
its only utility.
But I think the
How
interesting
can-
thing about
Go
Meerkat
ahead.
is
So
that
what
it's
I-
not new technology, right? I mean, we talked about this a little bit earlier that Meerkat is cool in its iteration right now, but it's not new technology. I mean, Quick
Okay,
came
let's
out with
back up
this.
and speak about what Meerkat is. Would
Right.
someone like to take that?
Meerkat, meerkat.
Hallie, go ahead.
Okay, meerkat. I will say something nice about it, and then a few not so nice things.
Wait,
So
before you
it's
say anything, show us your gloves again. I love those. I want
Fingers
those.
warm.
Okay, go ahead.
So
Now
it's
speak.
live streaming
Yeah.
of any given event by anyone walking around somewhere showing off what they're doing or whatever. And it is a new app spelled Meerkat. And it seems to have taken off. Well, I like the one thing I really like about it. I was at South by when Scoble was there, and it was like 2005 or 6, and we were using Twitter for the first time. And it was used to find one another and get to parties we were trying to get to. There was a reason. And so we must also bring up later, South by Southwest with no Scoble. Who could, there's no MOFO without him looking like I'm having a fabulous time. And
No,
you're not.
FOMO, honey.
Whatever.
She doesn't even fear missing out on the acronym, so it's all cool.
Yeah.
But I think the
Yeah,
important thing about
Exactly.
Here's the thing, I
MOMOFO.
think Meerkat has no, I suppose it has a real use, but after about 6 mornings of meerkatting my walk with my dogs, I felt like I was disturbing people because your meerkats go directly to Twitter. So I would meerkat walking my dog, and, for argument's sake, Ian McGee, who really keeps an eye on me, is up at that hour in the morning. And all of a sudden I noticed that he and about 9 other people are watching me walk my dog. And it's because they've gotten on Meerkat, they see it's me, they know we're Twitter friends and real friends, and so they think I might be doing or saying something meaningful. Well, I wasn't. I was, I was.
Aha.
But I
I
think the
was
beauty
meerkatting
isn't meaningful
watching
conversations. I think the beauty is real-time conversations. And, I don't know, you can see, so on Meerkat, what it does is when you log in, it gives you a stream of what's actually happening. So if I click this one, right, it's going to take me straight to something that's going on right now. It might be business related. It could be Francine walking her dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing that's interesting about it is it going to come on? Yes, thank you. So what it does is it'll show you what's actually happening in real time. And I think it's interesting.
As we can see that we're happening real time.
It
But I
must
think
be
it's
eating
interesting
a lot
because
of
it's up to
bandwidth,
you whether or
Kristen.
not you make that click, right? Could there be better branding about what the conversation is actually about? Absolutely. But maybe one morning I don't want to consume the news on New York Times. I want to watch Francine walk her dogs. And the power of it is that it exists right now in a real-time thing. It goes straight to Twitter, so it announces your friends, or at least in your stream. They killed the part that it
felt
actually.
like I was wasting people's, I've been, because I've been proselytized by Steve for so long, I realized that we're part of the attention economy, and attention is the only currency we have. And I felt like I was wasting people's attention. I guess that's,
Francine,
because
Francine, I think that's kind of a key issue here. I was listening to Ben Rubin speak about, his platform. And one of the things that he said that really struck me was that, we don't really know what this live streaming paradigm really looks like yet. You know, like what the best practices are, what the how we should be using it best. It's live streaming has been going on for a while. We've been doing it for a long time, right? But not where you can just, walk around and, oh, I'm live streaming you. Now, to me, it gets into a little bit of the feeling of Google Glass.
It does.
Can I walk into a bar and start live streaming you? And all of a sudden, not only am I, looking at something that you're unaware of, I'm actually, or recording it, I'm throwing it out there for anyone to see. And what kind of privacy issues are involved there? So, I understand what you're saying, Francine, and it also reminds me of what, people used to say about Twitter when they started using, like, oh, do you really want to know what I'm eating for lunch?
Breakfast or whatever. Yeah.
You're right. If you're going to live stream, maybe it better mean something. But then Christy just said, you know what? I may want to watch Francine walk her dogs. That may be just fine for me for 30 seconds or 2 minutes as I'm putting my shoes on.
I think that I see a point in that too, because if I hadn't seen Christy in a long time, and the positions were reversed, I would be, oh, look, there's Christy. I just love her. She's walking her dog, and I see that she's healthy, and, so forth.
I was going to say, I watched Mashable use it, a Meerkat of, what's his name, Cashmore. That guy.
Pete.
Sorry. On stage, and it was scheduled. So to me, it takes everything out of it that's unique or live or serendipitous, right? And it's like, why is it different from some video of him on stage being interviewed? Except
it's real
poor
simple.
quality.
It's real simple because, there were people meerkatting the Apple event. And you could not do that without Meerkat, because Apple doesn't let you do that.
Well, that's Apple's stick up Apple's ass, so that's like, if they could create a technology.
Wow, I think I hear a new app.
I want to see that. I mean, everybody said their PR people are like, zombie crazy deadhead vampires. So,
but I think just to kind of pull it back, that one, Meerkat is not brand new technology, right? So we had the ability to, on our phones, do real-time video streaming through a company called Qik back in, 2008, 2009. They actually were bought by a company that's powering this stream. They were bought by Skype for $150 fucking million in 2011, right? That's a pretty big deal. And so did it get mass adoption? No, but social wasn't really hitting mass adoption in 2011. I mean, it was, right? But it's pockets. I think the timing of Meerkat is interesting because it's come out now, and it's made it very it's made it easy to get on and to connect with some of these other networks like Twitter. I mean, they tried to build off of the friend graph, which is super smart. Twitter shut them down because of that.
And we're not really talking about, the part of the app where you're getting sort of a round trip feedback here.
Right. Okay,
because not only is it live streaming, but people who are watching it, and by the way, who's watching it because you see little icons and you see, who's actually a part of your stream in effect, because if they're an audience, they're a part of it. If they're watching, they're a part of it, and they can and they can comment. We just got a comment on our Meerkat stream as we're doing this, and they said this is worthy of meerkatting. Okay, so seeing the
backstage,
the studio, the kind of the back channel, meaning we're actually doing the show, so it's content, okay? But you're seeing it in sort of a real, you see our messy, studio and all that stuff.
Where's your cat?
Oh my gosh, now I got to think about that.
Is your cat over there?
Our cat. Oh, please, Steve, don't show
but think
that.
about
Oh
the
my
application,
God.
and this
Oh
is
my
where
God. Oh my God.
Come on.
But I think this is the interesting application, and I will say I was a hardcore purist, and I've talked about this a couple of times already, back in 07, 08, the first part of Twitter, where I really felt passionately about not using it to promote a lot of businesses. I was like, let's use it to connect with one another. Let's not define what that actually is, but let's not be spammy. Let's not try to grab followers. Let's just kind of have organic conversations and see what happens. And I've since,
You lost that battle, didn't you, big girl?
I was going to say that
I lost
changed.
it. I did. I went down in a ball of flames on my
You
soapbox.
did.
At the same time, I'm like, look, it's fine. But that's why I think it's interesting about Meerkat is that it could be meerkatting the show. It could be meerkatting Chris cooking, my husband cooking dinner in the kitchen. It could be meerkatting Francine walking her dogs. It could be, think about all the political implications for the 26 campaigns coming up. And you can meerkat like these speeches and get them out real time that you'll get it before the news does.
I think we're going to
there's
have some
power.
very interesting applications, and I think we're going to see how. Are you doing Are you doing it now, Francine? Oh, God, this is getting crazy. Like we're
I am
meerkatting different angles of the same show.
Your kitty cat, a meerkat. Look,
Jeez,
it's merely your cat.
I have
So-
lost control of the show.
Guys, not every time you say stream, I'm thinking of that thing I saw all week that, like, if you pee on a wall, the pee comes back to you. I'm like, I don't hear the word stream
That's if you
anymore.
pee into the wind.
Did you see that thing? It's all over.
No.
That,
Oh God.
all over Facebook. You didn't see that?
Callie's streams and my streams are completely different, it sounds like.
I think so. I don't know what that means or why, but anyway.
So I
follow
guess
up.
I'm hearing a lot of enthusiasm from Christy, seeing that that we're going to have a lot of use cases that can get very interesting. We're going to see it. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. We're going to see this in
You don't
the
think we're gonna have
political in the political season. This is going to be very, very interesting to use this application.
Oh, it's
Think-
going to
Tina,
expose
though.
a lot of people who are not savvy at Meerkat. It's a good thing, like,
Right.
just to pull a name out of the air, Romney isn't running again.
And my question is, will we be able to do some sort of group meerkatting in the future? And then that's going to get even more and more interesting because it's going to start to look maybe a little bit like this.
You know, I'm watching a lot of The Good Wife, and I just think this is like a lawyer's bonanza of stuff that will be.
Because of the privacy issues?
Well, not only that, but like I'll be walking down the street showing something, and then maybe I'll see some guys destroying the Pinata store, as we read about another part of the insane South by Southwest news this week. So I think it becomes a device of record. And as Google Glass, as you brought up, it's going to cross those lines.
But now remember, Meerkat, you're not storing this. I mean, you can.
store
You
it.
can
You did.
store it
You
on
can.
your own camera roll
That's
and
the
then put it up
question.
on YouTube.
It's pretty easy to
Can
hook that
other
up.
people store it?
Right.
Can
I
other
don't know.
people-
Can they? Can other people save your stream that you make, or only you can?
Well,
I don't think you can at the
I
moment.
don't think that
I'm
they
not sure
can now, but I bet that someone will figure that out.
I'm sure they'll
But I think
figure
the thing
it out.
that, again, to kind of tie it back, that this is just one other iteration of a connection point, right? The fact that we can do real-time video streaming is great. Just like I can take a photo on Instagram and show you exactly where I am at any given
Exactly.
moment and make it pretty with a filter, right? Or I could post to Facebook.
Right.
So I think it's, yes, maybe it's more Google Glass-like because it's a live feed, right? And so you actually see that person or those activities going on right then rather than a static photo. But I don't think that it's as concerning. I don't know. For me, Google Glass's issue was always that I had to put a pair of glasses on my face because I don't wear the glasses I have to wear right now. So why would I wear
Right.
glasses to record content?
Well, I would say, let me just add one thing about social media, how we all got here. Bloggers wanted to give you an eyewitness, up close experience of what they were seeing in the world. This is what writers, now we can go all the way back. This is what novelists wanted you to do. Dickens wanted you to walk the streets of London with him. And that's, in its pure state, that I want to show you what my life is like to live at this time on this planet, is a fairly generous, I think, and welcoming point of
It's
view.
all about
That is-
sharing.
That's what artists
is.
do. That's why artists paint
Kumbaya.
pictures. They want you to see I don't want to go on and on, but like Vincent van Gogh, or however you like to say it. I mean, he's saying this is how I experienced these flowers on this table, and my also craziness that he had. This is how it feels to be alive. That's why it's called Live. So in many ways, I think it's a step towards something very interesting, and it's exactly what Christy said. It's this continuum of show me how it feels to live your life on this strange planet with this little short time we have to be alive.
And in real time.
I'm pretty sure it was Eric Schmidt who said privacy is gone. And I'm pretty sure that this is another step in that direction.
Right.
And someone sent me a new app where you can put all of your personal information on the web, including your health information, and track it. And he sent it to me with an email that said, this is pretty funny because it's going to be hacked immediately. And my thought process was, the people who put it up there are not going to be people who even care. Between the amount of sharing that already goes on and the data breaches that happen when we try not to share, we're going to just devolve into a sharing situation.
Well, but we also have the choice of whether we share or not, right?
Really?
So as long
when
as
was the last time you talked to the NSA?
Well, okay, you got me there.
Well, that's the thing. Are we going to get releases as you walk down the street walking your dog? Are you, oh, by the way, you stranger, I'm never going to talk to you. Could you sign this release, please?
But
because we're videotaping you.
People are taking pictures all the time.
I know, but that's
still pictures. People are taking videos all the time. That's not different. I'm taking a video of you right now as I'm walking down the street. You don't know what I'm going to do with it. I may blast it all over the internet. Right? It's just, the difference is it's in my hand and it's now, and you can't really stop it. That's a little different. I mean, if I saw someone just taking a video and it was really sensitive, we could maybe have a conversation about, please don't put that out, Right. But I mean, this is all digital stuff. I mean,
this is the same arguments we used to have
anyway.
With, do I take Google Glass in the bathroom? It's basically the same stuff. And
well, as Scoble showed us, yes, you can.
Right. But I mean, the point is that if you don't,
we
you
want
still have
to.
your phone on you.
So
it's over, ladies.
What about? But Meerkat isn't the only thing. Twitter just bought Periscope, right? So are we imagine that?
Well, I see. Eventually, I don't know. It looks like Josh Ellman, Greylock, is in talks to invest in Meerkat. So that's kind of interesting and answers the question why I suddenly saw Josh meerkatting so often. But Twitter has Periscope, and Periscope is a competitive product. And Twitter has a way of slicing its competitor applications off at the knees once it's got something to replace them with.
Right. We haven't even talked about what Twitter actually did to Meerkat, right? I mean, they allowed, Meerkat was using the Twitter social graph, and then Twitter sort of put an end to that.
Wait, let's tie it back, as Christy is so fond of saying, to South by Southwest. They did it right before, like 1 hour before the beginning of South by. They cut Twitter, they cut Meerkat off from the social graph.
Yeah, and you can still post, I mean, the videos still post to Twitter, but I think the piece that they cut off was the announcement to your friends, right?
Right.
So your friends need to see it in your stream. They don't now get automatically notified if they're following you that, hey, I'm meerkatting, right?
Thank God. Because
so there's the spammy nature. I actually think it's interesting that it needs to be more intentional, needs to be more organic, and you defined it. But I think that the biggest miss for me is not so much Twitter and Periscope versus Meerkat. It's live stream and Ustream, and some of these guys who have actually been empowered people to do things like we're doing right now, live streaming through, say, our desktops, and why their mobile apps haven't gotten any kind of traction or attraction to the nature of what I feel like Meerkat is right now.
Because they're not called Meerkats.
Because they don't have a really cool little icon that's
right
bright and
this
yellow
guy.
and looks like a cute little thing.
Well, that is,
Hallie,
and
do
that
your
is
little
a
thing.
very interesting statement about the power of design.
Mm.
Oh,
It is,
yeah.
it's a
Yep.
really good statement about the power of design as a method of engagement.
Exactly. And it's simple. It is so simple to use your stuff.
Right.
And I was going to say I did a little doodle earlier. But Dad, that's for
That's
you.
cute.
I'm not a natural born artist, and there you go. But anyways,
Oh,
so I think that that's the thing though, right? Like it was connect my Twitter account to Meerkat, and then it was like 3 little quick video screens to show you how to do it, and you're up. I mean, it was super easy.
Super
There was a
easy.
mistake
Smart.
made because I hit a button wondering know what it was, and it was retweeting somebody else's Meerkat session, which I'm like, no, I don't want to tweet that out. But I think overall the user experience was super smart, right? And I think that's
It
where
was.
maybe Ustream and Livestream failed is they didn't provide that same experience on a mobile.
and
Hallie,
that
you,
is
and
so
they
hard
didn't
to
provide
do.
it so that it's super simple. You just have to, if you're going to get uptake, and truthfully, do we know if Meerkat got uptake out of South by and San Francisco?
I
But
don't know.
if you're going to get uptake, you have to be simple.
I read somewhere they got an enormous uptake, so I'm going to look for that. I'm going to find it for you.
well, there, yeah, about 120,000 people adopted the app or downloaded the app and started using it. And Hallie, what was your experience like using it? We noticed that you were experimenting with it.
I was playing around with it. I liked it, but I don't know. I think it was the first thing I found that was a little challenging was sometimes you just want to go watch. And I wasn't clear where do you go to just watch as much as sometimes you want to be making the video. And what I found
And where
too
do you
is
go to lurk? Because I don't think that there is a place to just lurk.
you can't
Oh,
really
yes, you
lurk,
can.
right?
On the home screen.
On the home screen, you can
Okay.
lurk. I lurked all day
Lurk
yesterday
on the
afternoon.
home
Lurk
screen
and no one
on your
knows you're
device.
there.
Oh, they do know you're there.
That's
They do.
that's a little
So you
different.
Because you come up as an icon in their feed.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like unlurkable, if there's such a word. Well, the other thing too was the idea that live should seem spontaneous and serendipitous, and it seemed strangely, if you're just doing a scheduled event, I don't know. I guess it's not different to me than watching a video of something, but I
But
do.
Hallie,
I
think
have
about
to-
what we're
I
doing
wanna-
right now
let me-
with our G3 show. We schedule it for Thursdays at 11 and then we go live, right? So I think it's
We
different.
try.
we-
We almost didn't make it
try.
today.
I was
Try to
going
go
to
live
say,
at 11.
how the hell have we gone live at 11?
Hey, wait. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it happens. Hey. Well,
actually think
therein lies the simplicity of Meerkat. You push the button, it works, it's great.
Right.
Well, this is a little more complicated, but who knows? Maybe in a couple years this will be as easy as just pushing that button and
Or
know.
Meerkat will have 4 little boxes
yeah. Right.
and it'll disrupt TriCaster.
So
Well,
on
I
another subject, I
yes.
wish we had been able to live stream half of Ellen Powell's working day and see what it was like to be uninvited to all these meetings or sit in the back and write on her pad of paper. And then now there's another lawsuit by the same. I love the name of the law firm, Lawless and Lawless.
Lawless
It
and
makes you
Lawless,
wonder-
yes.
It sounds like it's something on Netflix. It's like, are you kidding me?
Lynn Hermley, the same
Again,
lawyer.
a woman from Facebook is suing over. Now, this will be a little spin because it's a mom, and apparently somebody said to her, "Why don't you just stay home and take care of your kids?" And as if she was doing a bad job in her job at Facebook because she was a mother. So it's going to have a little different story, but
And
Well,
doing a bad job as a
Ellen
mother,
Powell
apparently.
is still going on, and they interviewed yesterday the person who fired her, and he started taking notes and building a case to fire her 4 days after she filed her lawsuit. And then suddenly he found so much fault with absolutely everything that she did. I'm probably not an Ellen Powell fan. I have no idea because I haven't met her, but I've heard enough to show that maybe she wasn't the easiest person in the world to work with. But then who is?
Yeah, but who
Silicon
is
Valley?
exactly?
In that world, and also you guys I guess missed last week, but Mary Hodder did pitch to her and Randy Commissar at Kleiner a few years ago, and was talking in our last show about what that was like. And I don't know. It's become now the case, if you're following it closely, it's talk about, death by 1,000 cuts. It's like one and another and the little and this and that. If somebody can distill it, I'm just fascinated by these jurors. The best part of it is the jury people who are not Silicon Valley people, and they ask these fabulous questions like, are you all crazy? It seems to me to be like underneath. It's like, what? Like, and then one woman, here's her question to the judge. Like, you can plan a wedding and things take place at the right time, and why can't they do that with a lawsuit? And I'm like, whoa, that is like awesome. Like, and so some of the stuff, and you also hear some very have not questions of like, this girl, I get the feeling this is not an actual question, but like, this girl's complaining that she was making $33,000 a month and she's in court because they were mean to her. Like, huh? Mm-hmm. And it's got the feeling of like, it's a guy who's, I don't know, selling hot dogs at that place where you guys play baseball.
But that's the problem, because in that industry, people do make salaries like that. And it would be nice if women could make the same ones that men do.
Right, but is it a jury of your peers, though? I think that's what Hallie is asking.
Of your peers?
It isn't a jury of peers, and I think I have to think, like, how are they hearing and seeing this? And interestingly, Judge Kahn in this, her last name, I want to say Pao, and it is Pao, right? Like, yeah, like Kung Pao chicken. Anyway, so they are allowed to ask lots of questions, and a lot of trials it's not like this. So one of the most fascinating things is if you want to look at the live coverage on Recode, for instance, that Liz Gans and Nellie Bowles is doing, it's amazing. And on days where they ask questions, they also have a day where the middle schoolers visit and ask the judge questions. It's like fabulous. It's like fabulous TV. It's incredible. But I cannot even imagine how this judge is the jury's gonna decide, because their questions so often reveal that this is a world they find absolutely mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm. They can't relate to it. I think we've lost Francine here.
Oh, where'd she go?
Oh, it could be that Francine's time is up, and I know that Christy's time is almost up. Is that true?
I think we're all about to be disappearing.
Goodness, I don't know if I can get Francine back here. Talk amongst yourselves for a second.
Most interesting person interviewed this week was Mary Meeker. Did you read that? Ooh, interesting.
Oh, on where? What, the jury?
Mary Meeker, who works at Kleiner, was on the stand and being questioned about Ellen Pao.
So, Hallie, it's interesting, because I think the power of all that's going on right now, too, is you are getting these, like Liz Gans and some of these guys are actually live tweeting it and giving you real-time content through this, right? So do you think that with all the prep that you did beforehand, do you feel like getting all this feed on a daily basis or hourly basis or however soon you're consuming it is actually shifting your understanding of the case or shifting your decision about what is right and what is wrong?
I think it's so detailed that it's at least giving me, I don't know that I had a definite opinion, even in the beginning, and there's so much, like the judge did not allow certain things, like the very bad financial state of her husband. This was a giant piece that he ruled like last week or so, or the week before, that would not be revealed, and that it was salacious and sleazy, or there's so much other salacious, sleazy stuff that's been okay. I was kind of surprised, but her husband's gone bankrupt, and so he said it would not be fair, unseemly, he said, to allow the jury to know all the details about how her husband is really in bad financial straits. So
I'm always interested because this kind of ties back to like even the Serial podcast, right? And how just bringing attention and having this real-time dialogue is now possibly impacting, his future,
Right.
right? And I'm
yes,
just curious
yeah.
about how much of this getting out real time, whether it comes through a news station or on social, actually changes outcomes. I have no opinion on it. I'm just curious if anybody else had a hard
Well, I
thought.
don't know if it's going to change the outcome of the trial, but it's definitely going to change the outcome of things in Silicon Valley for, after a while, because there are a lot of conversations taking place now that were not happening before.
Right.
And
Did you
that's,
the
how
article
it's
in
going to
Newsweek?
shake out, who knows?
There was an article in Newsweek this week that talked just to that. It suggested women are not going to talk about it, and that if you talk about it and seem pro Ellen Pao or whatever, you're going to have backlash yourself in your work if this happens. But the Newsweek article was interesting about that very fact.
Boy, that would suck if that were true.
Well,
that would really suck big time.
I think so, but I think
But that's been historically the norm. Women supporting other women who are having some sort of problems in the workplace or whatever. They go down too. Isn't that?
It's.
I mean, why are we surprised by that?
Okay, we've got to keep exposing it. We have to keep exposing it because it has got to stop.
Well, and I think that sort of ties into the very last thing I wanted to talk about, and I'll do it really quickly. Is the Ashley Judd thing that happened? She was at a basketball game. She tweeted something. About the other team who was playing against the Wildcats playing dirty. And then she got a barrage of really awful, vile tweets, sexual, just...
it's harassment.
It's harassment.
Yeah.
It's violent,
vicious attacks.
Vicious attacks. So she is trying to press charges. Now so that means she goes to the police and she says, here I'm being attacked. I guess,
right.
And you need to do something about it. Now, what are they going to do about it? We don't know if they can do anything about it. But this may be the same thing as, okay, we still have to keep talking about this. We still have to make, and that's what she's saying is, I'm not going to let this pass. This is really vile stuff. This shouldn't be happening. This happens to, this kind of stuff doesn't really happen to men. I mean, by women. It's happening going from, I'm sorry, did I mix that up? It's not happening.
No, you got it right.
Okay.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
And
it scares the pants off younger women, and it makes them behave in a certain way that precludes them from getting the power that they should have in the workplace.
Right.
And it's not fair.
Yeah.
Well, we saw this with the whole Girl Gamer just recently, right? Too,
Right.
where, that's a very heavily male-dominated field, and you have girls trying to write these games, and they're just getting things. I think the thing that's interesting about Ashley Judd is, her making this announcement, and she's even said she doubts anything will actually come of the police reports, but she feels like it's an important process to at least let them know how serious she's taking it and how serious we as a social community should take it. And
Isn't
then
it
tied to that, just real
similar
quick,
to the? Go ahead.
just tied to that is also with Twitter making the announcement this week that they are now giving you the ability. It's not a huge step forward, but at least it's like when you do file a report about somebody harassing you on Twitter, you now have the ability to send yourself an email that encapsulates, a screenshot of the offending tweet and the timestamp of it. So you can add that to a police report, which helps validate your claim. So if somebody ever tries to delete that stuff then, and it's gone from the ether, at least you've got some other kind of record that you can track back to it.
Yeah, and which is good. But I was going to say it only comes on the heels of the Kurt Schilling stand up and say this is bullshit, this is not okay thing, and thank goodness. So all of that, to me, I feel optimistic that it's pointing in a good direction.
I do too.
It's like pulling back the cover, nothing happens. I mean, people bitch about there's no privacy. At least there's no privacy for evil deeds being done. And hooray for that, because so often that was like the beginning of abuse. And
But am I
that's
the
how
only
I
one
feel.
who feels like we keep talking about this? This keeps coming up week
but
after
that's-
week after
that's-
week after
that's
week.
good thing.
Okay.
I want to get to Marissa Mayer next week too. I have big things to say about her and
Okay.
what's happening to her.
Okay.
Did you
We're
write
gonna-
about it?
I did. I wrote about it this
Put it on
morning.
put it on the website, and I
will.
love your sweater.
Oh,
It's so cute. What is this part? What's that little thing?
It's a bus with little ties on it.
So cute. Oh my God. Like you could wear that in Arizona and not freeze to death.
Yes,
I'm into that.
That's
Is that
what I-
is that from India, by the way?
Yes, of course.
Of course.
Oh, and there's a place you don't freeze to death.
Okay.
But I
All
think
right.
again, it just ties back to being accountable to what you do, whether it's in person or on the web. And, the platforms are hopefully trying to take, it's like with Facebook, did a couple things recently around trying to help you with suicide prevention. And Twitter's now doing it, because Twitter's probably the worst platform of them
Yeah,
all, where I feel
it
like
is.
there is harassing behavior
Because
just
we
by
have-
the nature of it.
Because we can be anonymous sort of on Twitter,
Exactly.
right?
Well, even if you're out there on your own, some people just think that they've got the right to do it. And so I think
Yeah.
Twitter's now starting to track, if they do suspend your account, they're now starting to track the phone number you're using to sign up. And so I think that's smart, because then they can say, we're going to block this phone number for having access to our platform again. You get suspended once, you're not coming back up with a different ID. And so I
Yeah,
think at least
excellent.
it's tough, because you're trying to manage millions of conversations that take place on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Some
And so
of
it's
which
no
are
small
ISIS
job.
recruits.
And is it perfect yet? No. Do we have a long way to go? Absolutely. But I'm happy to see that at least trying to take the steps to push us in the right direction.
But it's all reactive and it's not behavior changing yet. So,
I think it is changing it. And also,
you think it's changing the behavior of the people who are perpetrating who are the bad actors? I think that they're getting punished. Their accounts might get shut down, but they're opening them back up, and it's all reactive. It's like after the fact, after you've been harassed, after you've been had a lot of nasty stuff thrown at you, then something has now I understand that maybe we don't understand how to deal with it yet, but it is still in this reactive mode.
Well,
right?
I think there was a time, I think it was a few months ago, where, the CEO of Twitter said, oh, we suck at doing anything about abuse. And so that's changed, because it's like, no, you can't do that. I also think there's dirt underneath it that many women do not want to be on Twitter anymore. I know so many women are like, you're still on Twitter? And because they are really sick of it, and that's always, oh, you're losing your audience, and how's the advertisers going to feel about that? So the money has hit the rubber has hit the road in terms of the money.
Money has hit the fan.
Yeah, so I think it is changing, and that we have to hear about it endlessly. That's part of it changing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's hope.
I'm actually optimistic about it.
I just get fatigued that it's kind of the same story, and that doesn't seem to be a lot of progress into eradicating that kind of situation, or the ability for that to happen.
It's
Kurt
not going to
Schilling
happen
helped a
overnight,
lot.
Sina.
What's that?
No behavioral change happens overnight.
No, you're right.
It takes generations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
Men
the more
change
celebs that
diapers
speak
now.
up against
My
it, the
husband
more-
wouldn't have known what a diaper was if it fell on him, and in many cases it did. He'd just go, here.
okay,
take
well,
this
let's hope it
diaper."
doesn't take a generation for this to change.
It's always good to end with dirty diapers.
There you go. We're going to end. Okay, and we're going to end on dirty diapers today. There you go, folks. Okay, so all right, let's wrap up, because I know we've gone over, and people have meetings to get to. So I held you up in the beginning. I'm not going to hold you up at the end.
Fine.
Yeah. Anyone? No. Oh. And okay. Thank you, Steve. I think I know that. Okay, put it away.
What was it that he had out?
Steve
Really?
is waving a sign that says, we are using Ustream to stream G3 live and record
Okay.
live. Thank you very much to Ustream. And we also use Newtek's fabulous TriCaster. I love it. And you know that. And thank you so much. Thank you for all being here today. Francine Hardaway, thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I love it.
And Hallie Suit Tucker.
You're welcome.
and Christy Wells. Thank you all so much for being here today.
I could talk to you women all day long.
All day long, I know. But I don't think people would listen all day long. I think an hour is good. I think an hour once a week is good. All right. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for checking us out. It was exciting today. We got into this whole, where we were streaming on Ustream, we're streaming on Meerkat. It was crazy, but it was fun. I'm going to be interested to see what that looks like later on. So. Thank you all. We'll be here next week, same time, same place. I hope Thursdays at 11 Pacific time. And everyone get ready, and we'll say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
My nap time.
Yeah. All right, guys.